afternoon and welcome to the Midday News for Friday, June 19. I am Carrie Simpson. A special welcome to our viewers on TVJ International in the Cayman Islands and online at onespotmedia.com. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Government under fire over third country national talks. Man involved in deadly St. Anne crash charged. And later in sports, CONCACAF team shine on day 8 of FIFA World Cup with 3 matches set for today. Thank you for joining us. Now the details. The government is on the defensive this afternoon after reported talks between former Jamaica ambassador to the U.S. Audrey Marks and discussions with U.S. officials about the now controversial third country national agreement. The Gleaner earlier this week quoted from a diplomatic note from the U.S. Embassy in Kingston, revealing that Marks made the proposal to U.S. official attached to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security during the America's Counter-Cartel Conference at the U.S. Southern Command in Miami, Florida on March 5, 2026. But in an interview with the government news agency JIS yesterday, Information Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon insists this was not the case.
There's a conflation of that with a discussion that would have happened with Minister Marks in relation to exploring skilled laborers coming to Jamaica. And as you know, we've been looking at nurses and doctors, for example, coming from the Philippines, also looking at Ghana, looking at other countries, Nigeria also. And so there was a conversation at one point about whether or not there was an opportunity around highly skilled persons. Now, that became conflated with TCN. And there was actually a lot of work, I'm told, that had to go into clarifying between the two countries that TCN is completely different from any kind of skilled workers program. And what would have been looked at is how can we maybe get some more skilled workers.
To a TVJ News update, a man has been charged following last week's fatal crash in Ocheria, St. Anne that claimed the life of 65-year-old Claudette Thorpe. 27-year-old Rodney Thompson of Geddestown in Freehill, St. Mary has been charged with causing death by dangerous driving, operating a motor vehicle without a driver's license, and operating without insurance. Police report that about 6 Saturday morning, Miss Thorpe was walking along Main Street in Ocherias near the Big Ben supermarket when Thompson lost control of the vehicle, which swerved across the road, struck the woman, and then crashed into a wall and a utility pole. Miss Thorpe was taken to hospital where she was pronounced dead. Over in Mandeville, passers-by made a grim discovery this morning after stumbling upon a body along Wint Road. The body, believed to be that of a male, was face down in bushes beneath a metal grill on a property located between the Mandeville Infant School and Brooks Park about 8 a.m. The deceased was clad in black shorts and a red hoodie. His identity has not yet been established. Police responded to the scene and carried out investigations before the body was removed for further examination. Now, the circumstances surrounding the death remains unclear. Investigations are ongoing. The government says it is moving ahead with plans to make public lands available for legal acquisition by Jamaicans. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness made the announcement at a land titling ceremony for residents of Aki Walk and Jacksontown in St. Andrew. Antonia Atkinson has the details.
The announcement was made by Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness during the Aki Walk and Jacksontown land titling ceremony, where 40 residents received certificates of title. The Prime Minister said public entities have been directed to identify land that can be released through a structured and competitive process aimed at expanding property ownership.
The ownership remains insecure. The law says possession is 9/10 of it. But not because you have it means that having it, you can't be dispossessed of it. And therefore we need to go the other 10% of it.
Dr. Holness underscored the importance of securing land ownership in protecting citizens' rights.
One, build an economy where everyone can have the means to acquire property. You can have a job, you can get education, you can create things, you can sell, you can develop new products, develop a company if you want. You can make money.
Meanwhile, Minister with responsibility for land titling and settlement, Robert Montague, encouraged beneficiaries to protect their newly acquired assets and urged other Jamaicans to formalize their land holdings.
I want to say to the persons who are here to receive their titles, it is not a piece of paper you are getting. You are getting hope, you are getting opportunity, you are getting security, and you are getting something for dead left for your children. Therefore, you must protect it, and you must encourage others to start the process as well. But you have some persons here in our country that are determined not to go through the legal route to acquire land, but to squat on government lands.
Anthony Atkinson, TVJ News.
There are growing concerns about the availability of onions on the local market as supplies begin to tighten. But Agriculture Minister Floyd Green says the situation is not unusual, noting that it reflects the natural cycle of production within the sector. Now, consumers may have noticed a decline in onions on shelves in recent weeks as the crop moves toward the end of its production season. Minister Green says the current shortage is part of what he describes as the fluctuation of the agriculture sector.
Early in the year, a lot of our farmers were complaining about the oversupply. You haven't heard those complaints anymore. I think a number of our farmers have been able to move their produce, and we're now coming to the end of our onion season. I think what is fair is to ensure that our farmers get the full breadth of the onion season. Once onion season comes to an end, and we're winding up now, we will then look to external supplies, and then that will bring down some of the price until we go into our next onion season. But again, I think as consumers appreciate that they went through a period earlier this year that was significant oversupply, very, very low prices, and now it's a sort of leveling out.
The minister also pointed out that this pattern is not unique to onions, but common across multiple crops. He is urging consumers not to panic as the ministry works to monitor production cycles and work with farmers to maintain stability in supply.
Until we do some of the things that we're trying to do this year, like in relation to onion, put in drying facilities in some of our high production zones, so that ultimately we will not have an oversupply, because we would store and then distribute over the period so that the price will be more moderate and will be more consistent.